Any boys? Hello everybody and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford and the main story of the week is Lure Park has gone up in price. Inflation is kicking off, lads. We can't afford Lure Park. What is the world coming to? But Celtic are back. Join me in this episode is Declan and JP and my name is Ryan Clifford. Well, lads, as we said before we come on, we've had a wee chat. Good to get Celtic back, Declan. Again, I've seen a few fans, obviously, on Twitter and social media, kind of saying how good the game was. I know Lure Park JP's the main thing, mate, but we're not getting to Celtic here, right? Come on. But a day 7-0 victory, Declan. Good to get Celtic back to TV. Yes, it was a pre-season friendly. And as I think I said it on Twitter, it was like playing Celtic Juniors. They're French Celtic Juniors. They're a good team, but that was the kind of opposition we were playing. So, again, that's no disrespect, but that's the opposition we were playing. It wasn't up to any standard we're going to probably play all season, even in domestic-wise. But it was good to get guys' runs out, Declan. For me, it was good. I think for last season, Declan, I think we spoke before we came on, mate, the comparison from last season, the first game of pre-season to this pre-season, it was just unrecognisable. It was night and day. The shape of the team, the intensity, the tempo. I think even the commentator even mentioned it, that even Bernabei slotted in right away. He's only been here a week, roughly, and he's playing the inverted fullback already. So, again, it's things that you're going to look at in the next few games to see how these guys adjust again. But I think overall, as a fitness-wise exercise there, I think it was very, very good.
I totally agree with your assessment there. As I mentioned previously, the massive thing about pre-season is it is all about fitness, especially early on. You look to kind of put a bit of polish on it towards what used to be the qualifiers for us getting into the Champions League. And another bonus ball about winning the league last season is you're straight in, and there's none of this. You're playing teams that are halfway through the season, mid-July. So pleased about that. But the way I looked at that game today is actually held your attention for a longer period of time, whereas a lot of the pre-season games are stop-start. There's changes everywhere. There's things tried out. I felt as if that game today was played, especially first half, at a really high, entertaining tempo. And obviously, you've touched on the opposition there, right? But the way we went about our business, it wasn't a case of right. We can turn it on when we want, and we'll rack up the goals. It was good. We moved the ball a bit well. It was good to see guys get a run out, like even guys like McCarthy. Again, I know people on the convinced him, but good to see him get a run out. As you touched on there, Bernabei. Again, he did. He slotted in absolutely seamlessly. You would not have thought that guy has only been with the squad for a very short period of time. Overall very, very pleasing.
I agree with you on. I think just the full aspect to the game. Obviously, pre-season, the main aspect, JP, as we all know, 9 times out of 10, results don't really matter. Maybe the last game or two, you're trying to get your team sorted. You can maybe go, right, we're not looking good here. Maybe like we all know, pre-season last season, when we started to play tougher teams, we were a bit sluggish and obviously into the qualifiers. But as Declan mentioned there, we've not got that this year, so you can kind of maybe use this as like your qualifying stage, getting guys fit and obviously formations, etc. We all know where we're going to play, but pre-season, it's like JP, we've all played football. First 2 or 3 games, it's getting your rustiness away, getting the feel for the football. Performances, you can give or take guys playing well or not playing well, but in a sense overall, it was just good to get Celtic back and get the guys some minutes in the bank.
Absolutely. First of all, good evening, guys. It's nice to be back on, having a wee chat. It's just good to have Celtic back again. We've waited numerous weeks now. It just feels as if it's been an absolute eternity since that day when we lifted the trophy at Celtic Park, and obviously now tonight. But what I will say is as much as you can't really take much, in my opinion, for these games, is but apart from what you guys have touched upon, is the fitness levels, and I thought it was good to see some faces in terms of Chris Julian. It was only just a matter of days ago he was in Germany to talks to go to Schalke. he certainly didn't look like a player that was upset about no playing tonight, or he looked very assured, and yeah, it was good to see him play. Good to see him get some minutes, especially after that long injury he's had. That's the first, apart from that cameo appearance against Ray Frovers at Celtic Park, it's the first we've really seen him under Ange. So I thought that was pretty good. It's good to see James Forrest as well. I thought we saw a kind of sharper James Forrest tonight. He looks a wee bit leaner as well. I don't know what he's been eating, but he's certainly done a trick. As is James McCarthy. Also good to see Deguchi as well. He looks very tidy in the ball. But again, you can't really take too much for these kind of games because, as you said, Ryan, you're playing mud splasher teams, mate. So it's not as if it's you're not playing Liverpool or Paris Saint-Germain or anything like that. You're playing boys that probably won't get a game of fives on a Friday, do you know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of judge. What we can judge is the team's fitness, and that looked very good. Also, what was tested tonight was our ability to keep the ball, because we had the ball for the majority of the game. I think they had a couple of breakaways up the park. One, Joe Hart was sitting playing the Xbox, I think, and the other one, Big Seagrass, was reading a magazine. I think he was reading the Celtic View story there, because the two of them had nothing to do. But I think tonight, I don't know about you guys, but I think tonight highlighted Albi Nageti as, I don't know, he was well playing golf or something, because he's definitely not good enough to play for Celtic. I still do not know what he done to hit the side netting, because my wee boy turns 4 this Sunday and he would have scored that. He actually takes I don't know why he takes a touch. He just needs to step onto it and put it in the bottom corner, and he takes a touch, and I do not know how he hits the side netting. The goalie's about 4 mile away and he hits the side netting. I just don't know what the hell he done. I don't know if maybe his shoelaces were tied too tight, the oxygen wasn't getting to his toes. I don't know what the hell happened, but that was embarrassing for a guy that you've paid £5 million for. I think Davy Moyes and West Ham were probably having a street party once Celtic paid that for him, because he was absolutely rank rotten. And I think there was a couple of other times when he had the ball and he just looked like he was towing a caravan. He's the only one that looked out of sorts in the whole team. Thought Johnny Kenny looked lethal. Took his second goal very well as well. But as I say, it's kind of hard to judge because, like we say, you're not really playing anybody. So, apart from fitness, I don't really know what other things you could possibly look at, because I'm not telling you much.
I think on Ayeti, mate, I've always had, I don't want to say a soft spot, but I always thought when sometimes you seen him, again, I don't want. He did look uninterested. He didn't really perform well. Even simple touches. I think I said in the group chat. I think I said it to Jason that you can criticise guys in these games if you're not doing the simple things. Still, I know it's only the first game and you're rusty, but if you're not playing simple 5-yard passes or finishing simple tap-ins, I know it's pre-season, but they deserve to be criticised, because it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. You can't even make simple 5-yard mistakes at that level, especially if you want to try and play against higher level. If you make mistakes against lower level opposition, how you make within now 2 or 3 weeks play against higher opposition, it's not going to happen. So I always try to give benefit of doubt to Bargas and Ayeti, because they obviously had some of talent from the previous teams. I know Ayeti didn't get a lot of game time at West Ham. I know they signed Sebastian Haller at the same time, so obviously his chances were limited. Came up here, obviously, I think it was meant to be a loan deal, and I think Celtic must have thought, listen, when they get a striker in, and obviously didn't get Tony, they bought the £5 million for Ayeti. I agree, Declan, with JP, that I think Ayeti's days are numbered, but again, with some fans need to realise, if no club wants Ayeti, Celtic will need to release him for his contract, which will be, I think Ayeti's only about £15,000 a week at least, because he signed for £5 million. I'm sure I've seen him was 18,000 or something he's getting. I might be wrong, give or take, but he's on a good bit of money at Celtic. So for Celtic to, I don't know how long he's got left, and maybe 2 years he's got left, maybe in his contract, maybe.
Too long.
Aye, so I think that's a 4 year deal with him on it. So 2 year probably. You probably need to pay maybe £1 million, £2 million in his wages to get him away. Celtic probably could afford it, but then if you want to do that, you're giving away £2 million to buy a player again. So I think fans need to realise probably for a club to buy him, it's probably the only way out, probably, because Celtic might not release him until they buy somebody else. And you've got to have a club interested. No club might want him. That's the issue. We need to realise that we're lucky maybe Utrecht wanted Barkas, but if nobody else wants him, and you're fucked. He's just going to be sitting on the bench or in the stands, or he's in the fucking David Lloyd gym doing his weights. So, but I agree with JP Declan. I think his days are numbered. I think he's just not going to play. I think it's obvious. I think he's only playing today because the guys are come back for international duty. Are still getting a wee break for game time. I agree with JP's well. I don't think he looked very sharp. Everybody else looked kind of keen, and I think that's a big difference for last year's first game, Declan. I think every player, I don't want to single out Yeti, but let's just say as a squad, we looked far sharper, well into the. I think you mentioned before we come on the identity of the club, and we've got a way of playing, and that's the first game of the season. So how's it going to be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks? It's going to be even better. And the one guy I really want to mention, again, I know you know what to publicise too much on the performances. I thought Hatate stole it. It looks so much quicker, sharper than it was at the end of the season. I didn't think he'd have played him today. I thought they gave him as much rest as they could have. But I thought he was... I don't want to say a standout in a pre-season game, but I thought it was the one that did stand out quite much to me anyway.
Aye, there was a passage of play early on in the first half where he picked up the ball for Bernabe and just inside midfield, and three of them went to close him down, and with one touch he was away for three of them, and you could see that we turn of pace that he's got that just was lacking toward the end of the season because he was just out on his feet. I think we discussed it in a couple of pods at the end of last season there about him, thinking that with a rest he will come good again. He just needed that. But for me, Iraguchi stood it as well. Also, we've not seen too much of him, but for me today, what JP mentioned earlier on, very, very tidy on the ball. And another thing as well, see, obviously Gucci played most of the game. Toward the end of the game, you can actually hear it coming through, going, Gucci. So everybody else is comfortable with him as well. It's not as if he's untested. He's not played a lot. Like again, it's just to use the word seamless. He fit into the midfield, no problem with it.
He finished up the captain, Dick, didn't he?
Aye. He finished up as captain, aye. Not bad for a guy who didn't speak English. But
not bad for a guy who just came in January.
Well, let's be fair. I think these guys, I think they said they don't speak English, so they don't do interviews. Because I think Nakamura could talk fluent English, but he just didn't know what to do it.
It's because of the media and misconstrued through what they say.
Maybe letting a wee secret go here, but one of the guys that my dad works with, his wife is Japanese, and his wife was hired to do the cooking for them when they're here. The Japanese lads we have, but they don't speak a lot of English.
I know Kyogo, doesn't he? I know he can say hello and goodbye, but he doesn't really. No. I've heard Kyogo, doesn't he? And I've heard Maeda, can he speak a word English either?
So that's what everyone's on. As long as they score goals, English will not bother me.
Yeah, that's it. They understand Celtic, and that's what's, and they get what we're about, and that's what they've showed so far for their game. So that's all I care about.
Iraguchi, Hatate, I mean, there's again, I don't want to keep harping on about the same thing about the opposition, but these guys did look ready. We actually look as if we've hit the ground running for pre-season. And again, I know we don't actually kick off our league campaign to the last weekend of the month, but I'm absolutely buzzing for the start of the season. Even again with that again today against an amateur team or whatever, just to be able to see the sort of football that we're going to see in a second season here, with the players that have bedded in a pre-season and we're on to Rapid Vienna on Saturday.
Not only that, Dick, you look at the players that were missing tonight as well. Who's still to come in? It's quite frightening actually, considering that was probably members of the B team and some squad players of last season that more or less made up that team tonight. Apart from Joe Hart in goals and probably Hatate. You'd probably even look at Forrest being a squad player now as well. In terms of, I think if Jota and Maeda and Abada are all ready and available, I do think they'll sort of be ahead of Forrest still. Unless something miraculous happens, as I say, between now and the season beginning with Forrest, as much as he looked sharper tonight. But as I say, the squad, as you said yourself there, mate, the squad is looking night and day from what it was like a year ago.
Special mention for James Forrest, because I have been one of his biggest critics. I don't know how many arguments I've had with people about him that want to argue he's been a great servant, this, that, the next thing. Today was, again, the opposition thing, but you saw flashes of what Forrest can do, and I agree, he looks a lot leaner, and he actually, to me today, he looks as if he had a bit of that pace back, I know. And I know we discussed as a winger, he's as his time up as a winger, but now, like, if Big Ange is willing to give him the chance at it, then I think we need to trust that. But he did look good today, coming off the wing. Couple of moves as well, where he took the man on. There was one he went past to them and eventually put him down.
Aye.
But no, like, there's so many positives. Whereas last season you were not clutching at straws for positives, but you were desperate to find some. The day there was hunters over that park, and as you mentioned, there are a lot of B team players. But for me, that shows as well that if we keep that group of players coming through it and bleed them into the squad, because you will need them. We've mentioned this, you will need them over the course of a season, especially the tempo and the intensity that we want to play football at. I found a lot of positives in how the depth we have in the squad. All right, they're not household names yet, but a lot of the boys today impressed, because even the boys at 16 coming on. All right, you're not playing against the cream of Europe's top competition, but you're still playing in a pre-season game for Celtic.
Yeah,
at 16,
one of them scored,
and one of them scored. But it was so many positives over the park, and again, we've went back to it and said, look at this time last season, we're all sitting there going, Jesus Christ, is that really what we've got as a squad? And then you look at now, and the frightening thing, as JP mentioned, was a lot of your first team regulars were still sitting in the stand.
International players, JP, like you said, they're obviously still kind of getting a break. They're leaving the squad. You're in a very, very good position for where we were last year, and I'm agreeing with Tui's, JP, that I think there's definitely a way of playing now. You can even see that against, I know, again, the opposition thing, but you can see it against just the way the shape was. For the first game of the season, you can see the shapes bang on. Even Bernabe might not even speak English at all, and he's slotted into the role right away. It took Taylor and Ralston a few weeks to get used to that formation and inverted fullbacks, because we all know my thoughts on it. I was worried, and especially in Europe, we were going to get our arse kicked because we were going too far away and leaving Abad and Jota too far up to cover. But Bernabe, by the way, that boy's, I knew he was quick, but fuck me, the boy's quick.
He's fast.
And so that puts you in the frame of mind, which Jota and him going to be like, or him, Maeda, the speed of play that's going to be next year in the league. I don't care what anybody says, pre-tempting fate or whatever. Nobody in Scotland is going to combat that pace, no matter who they sign in that quality, especially down that side. But I really thought Bernabei was straight in like a glove. He was superb.
Mm-hmm. There was 10 minutes in the first half, guys. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I don't know if this was instruction for Ange. But Idaguchi, Hatate and McCarthy, for 10 minutes solid, only played 2 touch. I don't know if you've seen it. They were just they were kind of opening it between one another, but they were playing it. So it was as if they were told to do it, like speed of play and everything. They were just playing 2 touch.
I don't know if
touch and go.
I don't know if you heard it, JP, but I'm sure Ange did shout there, and they know 2 touch. Aye, you shout.
Oh, did he? Right, okay, but there you go. Know what I mean? So it was.
The ball went.
Sorry, Dick.
That's all right. The ball went wide to Bagurahide at one point, and you could hear coming through the audio. And of course, the one last season with Joe Hart slipped past the ball fucking back. He was like that. You could actually hear him going like that. 2 touch. Like, shouting, Boston, 2 touch. And you seen it, the speed of play kind of went up a wee bit because a couple of times it was a wee bit right. And again, you're talking like the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the game. And he's like that. And you seen a few of them take a touchdown looking for another couple because it was walking pace to begin with. And you heard them going like that, 2 touch. And that's when it changed. You seen them take 1 touch control, then moving the ball on. Just to touch on the bit where, if we talk about Ange shouting, we get a free kick in the first half and the referee stopped us taking it quick 3 times. Did you see that?
Aye.
Did you hear Ange shouting there or not? Oh, I was like, did I just
he shouted something like,
he'd be like, fucking get it underway, shouted.
Aye, that's right, aye.
Amazing, man.
It was a good shout, but obviously, these kind of games, you're going to hear that for your kind of side because, like, in the bigger games, all the cameras and all that are all there and all that kind of stuff's muted out with the big stadiums and all that kind of, but at these wee kind of grunge, you're going to hear all the kind of shouts, which is something we don't hear quite a lot of when we're on Sky, because if it's any swearing or anything like that, it's muted out for the telly. Yeah. They're not allowed to show it or let you hear it or anything like that. But the one I think you were saying, was it last year he Stoke passing it? Was it no Stephen Welsh?
Stephen Welsh has passed it back to Joe Hart, aye.
Rafe Rovers, he goes back away with it and he tells him not to go back. See what the positive thing for that is, lads. See every single player, regardless of who's playing in what position, every single player wants the fucking ball. Nobody's hiding. Because you're not allowed to. Mm-hmm. So if you're hiding, you get whipped off. Or you're out of team. So now you're looking at the season with 40-10 and players were hiding, heads down, fucking moping about. You don't get any of that under Ange's team. It's everybody's showing for the ball, everybody wants the ball, and then we're here tonight, 2 touch. So everybody's comfortable with the ball as well now. And I don't know if maybe that's been emphasised now with them because we're going to the Champions League. Because like I said before, lads, we need to be better with the ball. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to take the ball under pressure and play. And last season, Mellon once or twice, you saw whether it be Starfelt make a mistake, Greg Taylor make a mistake. There was a couple of mistakes bang on early doors at Ibrox in the 2-1 game when we beat them. And they still took the ball under pressure because he has gave them a belief to do it. They don't shy away, they don't fucking lose it or lose morale and nothing. It's all positive energy. So whether he gives some of them a cuddle or he screams at one or two of them, because not everybody's different, guys. So not everybody can get shouted at. Some people need a wee cuddle and a wee bit of hanging that way, but some people need a right bollocking and you go through them. And I think Ange has shown over the last year or so, he's got a man management style as well that all the players totally respect him. So whatever Ange says, it fucking happens, and it happens the way he wants it to happen. If not, then he said it to the open goal boys. I'm on a bus, and you're on that bus with me, or you get off and you get another bus and you go somewhere else. It's that simple.
I think that goes to obviously the point about Julian you mentioned, JP. A few days ago, he was meant to be away, and you weren't thinking that he was on a bus somewhere else because
No.
I thought, lads, that he done his job. Seen a few comments on Twitter and stuff saying that he don't go play, he's not good enough, and I thought the big man done well. I thought he stole the game. To be fair, they all made the odd wee passing mistake, but he done okay. I don't think he done anything bad. He didn't look like a guy that was wanting to leave. He looked interested. He was doing wee flicks and he was passing the ball crisp. So on Julian, again, I think it was similar to, I think you spoke about it, Jive, I think you mentioned it to me, might be similar to the Simrovic deal. Torino didn't happen, and the big man could be, you know what, I just need to stay here and fight for my place, and I want to be here, and I want to show the fans and Ange that I'm a good enough player, and I still think he is a good enough player. I don't think there's any doubt in his ability. It's just where I know he's in the game because of his injury, and obviously the deal not happening, because that could affect players. I'm not getting my deal, so I'm not training, I'm not playing. But he's went to Austria. I didn't think he'd have went. Being honest, I didn't think because of that happened. I thought they'd just try to maybe get.
So did I. I thought he was out the door.
But I think he's went over there, so it must be in some sort of plan, either if it's the next few weeks or going forward. But again, we've mentioned that about a few other guys who might not play. But I thought Julian, I'm still willing to give him. If Ange wants to keep him and he's happy to be here and he's fully fit, he's very able to come in and play with Vickers or Starfelt, or even a back three. It gives you that luxury because you can then play Bernabé, and it will probably be Bernabé and JJ playing at the fullbacks. I can't see Taylor and Ralston, the two starters. Again, that could be wrong, but I think they two will be the fullbacks. So if you were playing away in Europe, you could play free to back.
There goes again with that Greg Taylor part of it, know what I mean?
Hey, I'm just being honest here. He's not signing Bernabé for 3.75 million and no playing him. He's not going to get him the main man and no play him. I think it will be. I think we did mention Dex says about the B team. There will be rotation. There will be games maybe we're playing if we do get say Bayern Munich a Thursday, a Wednesday or Tuesday, and then you're playing Ross County away on a Sunday or something. There will be guys who are going to obviously chop and change. But I think Julian's still, for me, Dick, still got a part to play if he's totally in the game. I don't think he's huge out the game. I just think it's just been a torrid time for him. Us as fans, we can always see what happens on the park or what happens in social media and the papers. We don't know what goes behind closed doors. What Ange's conversations is, we all know the papers can twist things. In 1 minute, they're saying he wants to fight for his place. Next minute, he's got a Schalke. So who's telling the truth? Is it the papers, which is probably not right? So but this is why we always say, until somebody goes or somebody comes in, you don't believe it until it's happened, because there's so many rumours. Unless you get the odd proper source that you know has told something properly before, you go, right, okay, cheers, mate, I'll keep it for it. But 9 times out of 10, it's until you see it Sky News. Even sometimes they can talk a lot of shit.
Absolutely. Remember, he says Big Dembele had signed for Brighton on Christmas Day.
And I'm sure, did they know tweeting going, what are you talking about? I'm going, neighbour or something, wasn't it?
Aye. It was Christmas morning.
Aye.
It was a few years ago. Obviously it was, because he's been a man now for a few years. So, sorry, Dick, I've just jumped in again in front of you. Sorry, mate.
That's all right, mate.
But they tweeted that he'd signed for Brighton for 22 million, I think it was.
Aye.
And it came out about an hour later, it was one pile of nonsense.
I think what Ryan's trying to insinuate is that the media don't tell the truth. I think that's what Ryan's trying to stab at there.
I think if anybody...
He's not doing well to hide that, Dick,
I think if anybody who's a previous listener to the podcast or new listeners, you understand that I think the media are full of shit. The media...
End quote.
The lot. I think it's bonkers. So if you want to listen back to previous pods, you'll listen to Greg Taylor and the media. But no, I do think Julie's still got a part to play.
Actually, you're talking on. Sorry, mate, I need to interrupt you. You've got a list of line for your air.
What journalist I need to...
You're just trying to be nice. You've got names and addresses and everything wrote down in your air.
Right, that's a bit creepy, man. Come on.
I've been telling you that for months, mate.
I think, Dick, that I think that if Julian's fully in the game, I think I'd still keep him, because to get a player of his quality, you're going to spend at least £4 or £5 million to get the guy with experience and the guy who's maybe won things. I don't think any of the B team are ready to step up yet, maybe to be a squad player, but I don't think to take Julian's place. I think Julian, for me, would still be your third choice if he was still to be here.
I would keep the big guy. Like I like him. I think I've mentioned before. I think it was the last podcast I was on. As much as Starfelt and Carter Vickers were solid last season domestically for us, neither one of them is that tall for a centre half. Julian has got that height. Whether he can bring a proper physical presence to it remains to be seen under Ange anyway. But the comparison I would make them is him and, as we mentioned, Mr. Ajeti. You look at their two body languages are they, right? Julian wants the ball, wants involved, he's on his toes. Ajeti, flat-footed, staring at the sky going, you know what I mean? You look at, and JP mentioned as well, there's players that need a bit up the arse and there's players that need an arm on the shoulder. Big Julian's one of these players. He's got to know he's wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I like the guy, I do. I don't. Sometimes I go as that for sentimental reasons, because he's gave us some good memories. Also, the goal against Lazio, and of course the totally onside goal at Hampden against the Forces of Darkness. But no, like I would keep him, because you need, as you've said there, the B team players could step up and be squad players, but you need a guy who's ready made to go into the first team if called upon.
So I think for me, that's the thing about these pre-season games. The guys who have the potential, Kenny. Again, Kenny's played first team football with Sligo Rovers, so it's not what he is a B team player. I think he maybe could be able to step in and play as a squad player. Again, we've not seen much of him because when he came, he got injured. So, but by all accounts, you can tell he's a finisher. If that means playing with the first team, I don't know. We all don't know that yet, but you can tell at any level he's going to score goals anyway, if it is a B team or if it goes on loan to Championship or whatever else. But I think that because some guys play well, JP, I think that some fans get a bit excited. Or he's done well. He's had a 10-minute. He's played well. He's going to get in the first team. I'm just like, you need to relax. These guys are just coming to bed themselves in and get fame in the first team. Maybe if they continually get roles in the team, like Ange tried to do with Ben Doak, you can see within 2 or 3 games that boy had something, but he's obviously away down south and better pastures you. But it seems to be as well, for the last few days, JP, we've seen some boys signing professional contracts for the first time, some boys getting kept on. Yeah. So maybe there's a pathway, but they've changed in the last few weeks in pre-season into the new season, that they'll maybe try to keep these boys now. Maybe they'll try to get them tied down the new, instead of waiting till they're 6 months, a year down the line, then try to persuade them. And we all know you shouldn't need to get persuaded to sign for Celtic, because I know we are fans and we basically run through Brit was for nothing to play with Celtic. Under Ange, even just with training with the first team, JP, I think eventually they will get to run their trade, and if that means you're out on loan or going somewhere else, at least if this to stand them in good stead going forward.
Absolutely, mate, and I don't think it's a bad thing either. And I think it's a blinder Big Ange's played for he's come in, is having a lot of these boys all training day in and day out, regardless of whether they're playing in the B team on the Saturdays and Sundays or the Fridays or whenever it may be, but they're training with the first team every day. So Ange has made a space for a big group of them. And that's the boys that have all went this, like Bosun Lowell, Johnny Kenny, Rocco Vata, they're all playing at the same level in the ROI side now as well. So there's continuity there with that group just on its own. And that's good enough for for us as well. In my opinion, Johnny Kenny looked lethal tonight. He only had a couple of chances, and he should have had a hat-trick of Big Julian when he pushed him out the road. But I'm glad Big Julian didn't have another set to the post. He nearly either that or a post tonight. He was trying to hit that ball in. But that would have been all we needed. Big Julian, Clyde him in on a post. again, people, I've seen on social media, people going, that's a shame, taking the boys' hat trick off, I'm doing this, doing that. I look at it the other way. Shows you the desire and the hunger of a guy that was almost out the door 3-4 days ago.
Yep.
We were all thinking, oh, he's away to Schalke, or right up the him, he'll not be part of the team now, he's got to be away, he's doing this. When we done a podcast a couple of days ago, Ryan, and we were all talking like he was out the door. Same way a year ago we were with Anthony Ralston. Mm-hmm. So you think we would learn by now. But in terms of Julian himself, again, that showed more hunger and desire than anything else, because he started that initial move. He was a wee bit of build-up play, bobbing out wide, and he got himself into the box. So he started that move. But then again, see that side of the football, Ryan, that comes for Ange. Mm-hmm. With the centre-half strolling forward, coming out like that. I thought Big Boss and Lovell looked really, really steady tonight. I thought he looked really assured, very calm on the ball. I think he only had to win one header. The boy got booked for a high fit. I think the boy kicked his chin. Must have been really sore because he's a big lump of boy. So I think if any one of us would have kicked his chin, we'd have broke our feet probably. You know what I mean? He's got some.
His foot must have been some height.
Well, that's what I was going to say. But the boy got a yellow card, didn't he?
Aye. I'm going to do a dry pee and jump in for a second here.
On you go.
But
I deserve it.
Just when you were talking about Big Julian hitting the post, I'm sitting there going, I could mean two different things with a big guy on it. Christopher Julian hits the post. It can be a bit confusing for commentators to use that sort of matter.
Aye. Is he injured or is he away? One of the ones, is it a bird, is it a plane? No, it's Chris Julian. But no, as I say, I just thought that wee moment showed a bit of hunger and desire, something that we want to see as Celtic fans. Now, whether that's a pre-season friendly or it's a Champions League, that's what you want to see. You want to see boys competing. Mm-hmm. And even the boys that were 16, the boy, is it Deddy? Joshua Deddy or whatever his name is. Is that his name?
He's only played about 8 games, I think, for the B team.
He's injured last season. He played about 8
okay. And then the boy Vata. Is Vata the youngest scorer for the Celtic first team now? Or is it still Jack Aitchison?
I think it's still Jack Aitchison.
Was he 15? Was he 15, Aitchison?
That's one for the listeners, isn't it? So if somebody knows, comment in and let us know, because I don't know, I would like to know if he was the youngest. But what a goal. I mean, that's probably better than any goal his old man scored for Celtic when he was there. That was good. It was good to see. A great finish. Again, you're talking earlier on, you can't really judge it because you're not playing it, but you can only beat and score the team who's put in front of you.
Yep.
And 7-0 is an absolute walloping, regardless of what level and what team you're. For you to get gubbed 7-0 with any other team, you may as well just pack all your bags and home and go out your bed and chucking it and just not coming back out tomorrow, because that is disgraceful. Like, imagine the feeling that happening, and imagine being that team and being in that dressing room at the end of that game going like, oh, wow, man. Like, how did that just happen to us? Because that would be demoralising for me. I remember how it felt when PSG took 5 off us at Celtic Park that night, and all we could do was sit and watch them. But see, this Celtic team, I think they would want to compete still. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the scary thing, guys. See, when we get in there, this Celtic team are going to play the way Ange wants to play. So we're going to attack these teams. We're going to have a go. We're going to try and hurt these teams with what we've got. And we could see a couple of high-scoring games.
I think under Ange, I think if it's Europe, league games, cup games, friendlies, any game under Ange, I think we're very, very liable to get lump your mortgage money on over 2.5 goals, because there's always goals with Celtic. I think we only had maybe 1 or 2 1-0 victories or something last year. Every game is 2 or 3 goals at least, especially at home. Talking about obviously Europe, we've not really touched too much on it, and we've only touched on it a few pods, but Like you say, I think Ange is obviously going to, this Celtic team will try and compete. It's still, I know fans will say maybe what you lied about and it's still a long time to go to draw, but until I see a performance first, then I'll maybe not worry. But if it's that, because that PSG game still, I think I was coming to put it on Twitter. I think some other podcast put it on. I think I answered it. I think it was the best performance I've seen. I say Cavani, it was just unbelievable. And guys like that will be coming to Celtic Park this year. And I don't care if anybody says I'm a massive Celtic fan. I don't want my team getting beat. But see these guys at Parkhead, it's still brilliant to watch. And see if my team gets beat 7-0, I am absolutely gutted. But I've just watched world class players, so it's a bit fucking bittersweet. Do you know what I mean? You're like, fuck me, we've just been pumped, but wow, what have I just seen? And I might not see guys like that. I might not see guys like that again. And this is why the Champions League for me, Declan's so special. You see guys like that who you don't. I've always said that I thought Scott Brown was superb, right? And then he's against Verratti and Rabiot, and I'm like, fuck me, he's very average. Do you know what I mean? To us, he's brilliant, but it shows you how the level of performance you need to go and play with Liverpool's or PSG's. And PSG are not one of the best in the world. It's just all money, I know that, but the players have got. And I think, again, I'm not going to judge Ange's Champions League yet, Declan, because he's not played in it with Celtic. So it's a new team, and hopefully it's a new culture. Because we've all said some of the teams we've been beat half, even on O'Neill's team, utter dross. Fucking, I think it was Tony Moe? No, Dyer getting beaten half Molde, and you're just like, this is unbelievable. What is it with this club? What is it with this club? We do well against your Barcelona's home, and we can go and take bit to his Lazio, but we can go to Molde and get absolutely destroyed. You're like, what is this?
Media Bratis lava.
It's I think JP, you said it was Jason the other day. That it's just a culture, I think, in this club that it's always going to linger about us. It's always going to be a game where it's going to linger about us. But I'll wait until Ange's team gets into the group, and then they'll obviously how he's going to play. And I think the first away game will be the game where you highlight like how he's going to take these away games, depending on who obviously it's against, because some teams will be easier to play against others in Europe. But it's probably still lingering and worried, Declan, that if he goes toe-to-toe with these teams, we're going to get shafted. Because an attacking team versus an attacking team, the best attacking team will do you completely. So you've got to be solid defensively, which I know we have been, but this is where Angie's team will get tested next year.
Definitely. The games you touched on a couple of games there. Like he's watched the game the same as me, right? Celtic TV and Scott McDonald on half time there, like a pre-recorded thing. And obviously we start with the night we beat Milan. And you look at that Milan team, and it just kind of echoes what you've just said there. Like you want to see your team playing against the best players on the planet and all the rest of it. But the one thing that's better than watching your team play is watching your team beat them. And I want to, and it's one of I'm dead selfish and the thing is saying this, but I want the nights back. I want to come away from Celtic Park after a European game absolutely buzzing that we've just walloped one of Europe's top teams. And again, I know it gets harder and harder with the golf and money to buy quality players. But I think what you're saying there is also two attacking teams playing one another. I think by the look of it and by how fit I'm going to assume we're getting, our biggest thing is we'll outwork a lot of these teams. It's why you've heard the phrase hard work beats talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the ones, and I think that could be a key factor for us. So it's like we all come up against teams that have got man for man better players, but are they willing to work as hard? Are they willing to run as much? And I think that's in the past. It's one of the things that's got us victories in Europe, especially at home. I can't remember who former player it was for us that used the phrase against teams like Barcelona, you run a marathon because you have to do so much work off the ball. And I think that's going to be a big factor for us is what we do off the ball as well. Going forward, I totally agree. I don't think we'll change. I mentioned that in a previous podcast. I think we will go and attack teams. So I'm looking forward to us drawing PSG and Bayern Munich and getting away to Munich and PSG and coming away with 3-2 victories, not then.
I think as well, JP, it definitely says, I know people won't want me to make this comparison, right? You just need to look at them at the other side of the water, right? They're no the best team in the world, and they go to a final. And I'm not saying I'm jealous, but I was just like, how can we not do that? How can we not just defend for 90 minutes and get a fucking result? But I know under Ant's not going to happen. But you've got to, people won't want me saying that, but you've got to look at how you've done it. They were very, very organised. It just proves what you've said, Declan. You see, I've always believed you can have the best ability, but see if you're a lazy bastard and won't work for your team, I'm sorry, you're not good to be in my team. I think that's the way Ange is working, JP. You might not be world class, but he's got a team full of winners that want to win. They want to run. They want to chase every ball down. You've seen it with Kyogo, Hatate, Giacomakis, Maeda, Jota, just about the full team. We've got guys who are running for brick walls for each other, team spirit, and we all know team spirit's massive, and I think it's a massive. I think Joe Hart, Juranovic, they've all mentioned it, how close they are, and they're going out for dinners, and people who don't really play football or know football that much, they might think, oh, Cat's just going for dinner, and it's a big thing in football. You know yourself, you've all played football, boys. Social events are brilliant. Team bonding and having a few beers with the boys, and you go to training on Monday, you've won the Saturday, you're buzzing at your nut. It'll be the same as these guys in the morning at training. They're just 1-7-0. You'll all be buzzing about training. And I want to play next week. I want to play next game. That's just the way football is, isn't it?
Aye, definitely, mate. I think, as you said there, they're all going to be very positive. You've got to look at that team he played tonight. The squad and the team that he picked tonight are the team that reported for day one of pre-season there. What is that? A fortnight into a pre-season now?
Roughly,
so
give or take.
A week ago on Monday there, we reported for pre-season.
Aye.
Right, okay. So that's what I'm saying. So they're all the ones that reported for day one of pre-season. And you can see the work that he's done with that group alone just tonight. That you can take for that. You can assess that and say, all right, okay, because you can see the shape, the way they played. As you said yourself, Ryan, the camaraderie with them all. As soon as you lost the ball, they were hunting in packs, getting it back, chasing after everything. McCarthy gave one away. He took a heavy touch, tried to play the ball back to Big Boss and Lowell, and he actually gave one away. He ended up getting, well, the ref gave a foul. I'm not saying it was a foul, but they got a foul for it. But McCarthy chased the boy back and got the ball. In my opinion, he won the ball. But he was pulling the boy's arm, so that's probably why the foul was given. But it was a determination in him to do it. Do you know what I mean? To get back and win that ball. And that highlighted what you just said there about all the way Ange has got them all switched on. Now, what I think is going to be key, is Declan says as well, like when we play the bigger teams, because obviously we're going to get 3 belters, right? We're going to be in pot 4. So we're going to get the pot 1 team we get, you're going to be greeting because it's going to be a massive team, right? Unless it's Frankfurt. I think the rest of that pot are all quite. They would send shivers to you. Do you know what I mean? With just some of the talent they've got in their squad. Pot 2, you're looking at decent sides as well. Pot 3, you're looking at the one you could go, right, we could fight with you for maybe 3rd place in the group here. And right away, that am I wrong? And like, because right away my mind's now went to, let's see who we get in pot 3, because then we can fight with them. But guys, I don't know if this is just me, right? See, when we get turned there with these teams like Copenhagen and Maribor and Malmo, and do you think it's to do with the pressure of when we play these teams, we're the ones that are expected to turn them out? But see, when we play like, see, your Barcelonas and your Liverpools and your Real Madrid, well, we've not played Real Madrid, but teams of that ilk, there's no pressure on us because everybody thinks we're going to get spanked. So it's normally our squad has got a point to prove then in order, like, this one point they're going to turn you there. It's up to you to go and make sure that doesn't happen. I can't emphasise any more than what I already have. We beat Barcelona at Celtic Park with Effie Ambrose at centre half. Now, Effie Ambrose when he got a game in the post office. on a Saturday morning at the pitch. So we beat Barcelona with Effie Ambrose at centre back.
And Miku up front.
With Miku up front. No.
And he went out in the fucking windy cleaners.
He did, I know, didn't he? I think he started cleaning the Ford's windies a week later.
Aye, 4 days in Brixton.
Aye. 4 days at Brigton, aye. But anyway, he was doing the Fords, wasn't he? He was doing the mile and all that as well after that as well. So he used to listen to his headphones and singing too loud and all that as well. I'm sure I heard a few people complain about him. That was terrible. But no, he was, I mean, and see that Barcelona team, apart from that Alex Song, that was probably the best Barcelona team I've seen in the last 15, 20 years. You look at their squad, I think David Villa, Iniesta, Xavi, Messi.
And Sergio,
was he with him then, Ryan? I don't know. Was he with him?
I think he was, mate, aye.
Because he must have been on the bench that night then, because he wasn't.
I think he was.
They had Victor Valdez, the goalkeeper. Jordi Alba. That's right. Because as I say, we were playing them that night, that mob across the water, we're watching BBC Alba. So it just shows you the difference where the two teams were then as well. So who knows? You just don't know. But Ryan, you mentioned about them getting to that final. And listen, Rob Douglas won't tell you if I cut final or not, mate. It doesn't make you say he was a good player.
Jack, if you see that list that's on Ryan's there, you get one of your own.
What's that, mate?
See the list that's on Ryan's there, have you got one of your own? Because that was
my list would only cover 2 fingers on the palm of my hand, mate.
I've only got one. The last time I was on, and now he's getting it again.
Probably Rob Douglas and Big Effie Ambrose. I'm only kidding on. I'm only joking, but like, I mean, let's face it, Rob had his moments, didn't he? Especially in that final as well. So he didn't cover his selling glory. But no, getting to a final is all right, Ryan, as long as you win. Nobody writes about you, mate, unless you win it. Because I don't know any Celtic fan apart from when they're talking in comparison to something that's still mentioned 2003.
I think you only mention it for...
That whole season was just totally gutting, mate. We won nothing.
You only
but
mention
yet people are saying that it was a brilliant season and it was a good experience. And okay, it was, but it was a bit hard to take for me in terms of we won hee-haw. So in terms of football, you're not looked at that's not a successful season, just getting to a final and getting beat. In my opinion, you get to a final, you win it, then people write about you and they talk about you.
I think the only thing was that we talk about is the experience and the laughs are getting there and how people stayed in hotels.
Yeah.
It's good memories, but
there's definitely moments you'll always remember and you'll never ever be able to change. Like there's moments here, but in terms of as a whole, watching Celtic in that final, we lost. It was. I remember that night, the feeling of losing. It was horrible, especially when you know fine well somebody like Henrik Larsson scores 2 of the goals, and you seen him himself when he got interviewed after the game and he does this with his medal and he went, "I never fucking came here for us," and he done that and he pulled his medal off. You could see the age in him and all. And we fell short. So I'm not really wanting to compare because, as you say, they're not the greatest team. They're not even the best team in this country. But they still got to that final. So it just shows you
it can be done.
In terms of the hard work and everything else, it just shows you like that they were built what was it, 4, nearly 5 years by a certain individual who done a runner as soon as the big Aussie came to us, more or less just shortly afterwards, because he probably saw the light and knew it was coming. I don't blame him. I'd have run a mile as well if I knew that I wasn't. I don't know if I was having to deal with boys like Bacuna and boys like Big Shirley Bassey and boys that just get absolutely raped at Celtic Park that night, just totally laughed at off the pitch. The water boy, Bobby Boucher and Big Barisic, G6 down the middle of the game. guys like that, I mean, I'd have run a mile as well if I had to coach these boys, do you know what I mean? Because that's the mentality you're dealing with. So, I don't know how Mr. Slippy G would have been feeling in a moment when he boarded that train and he waved ta-ta. So, I think he got out when he smelt what was coming. And I do think there'll be darker days ahead for them, I will say.
Even on McCarthy, I think Declan that I think he's got a part to play this year. I still, obviously, the rumours about Sousa seem to be no happening. I think McCarthy's still got a role to play. You've still got him and Gucci to step in front of obviously Tati, McGregor, O'Reilly. You've got 5 centre mids, but for me, I still think we need a big bruiser, somebody that can play football but still battle. I'll probably keep going about this until we sign one because I think we've needed one for years. I know it's the same comparison to Wanyama, but we've not had somebody since Wanyama to do that job. Scott Brown did it to a certain degree, but I think that's maybe the missing piece for me in the Celtic team. I think defensively we've sound new. We've got a right back, we've got a full backs, we've got a centre backs. We've got everything apart from another midfielder, I would say. Striking wise, I don't think anybody in the country is going to beat us. Talking about strikers, you've got Big Fredo, looks like he's at about 50 packs of donuts. For me, Declan, on that, right, people say, why are you talking about him? I want to talk about him because it shows you, for me, the professionalism at the club. How can a professional football player at any level come back like that? We slaughtered Lee Griffiths for that, by the way, here. This is me getting back onto my list, JP. The media couldn't get enough of slaughtering Griffiths and Neil Lennon because of that.
He's got it in front of you, don't kid us on.
I have, sorry.
He's been Mourinho book there. He's been Mourinho book there, but he's like, right, I've ticked that one off and tick the next one off.
No, but you know and I know that I'm speaking the truth here, right? The media lambasted Griffiths because he can back you a bit overweight, and as soon as he pulled out tea cakes, he's eating tea cakes, he's doing this, he's doing that. But Morelos can walk off onto a plane looking like he's really overweight and unprofessional, but it's fine because it's them. And people will think, you're having a laugh, fine, no, I'm being serious here. That's not a professional. But yet, if that was Kyogo had done that, I guarantee you, by the front page news, Kyogo 2 stone overweight, Celtic's hitting a crisis. I don't know what you think.
To see that because he's built like a jokey.
He is a fucking joker, I can't. But I think Owen McCarthy, and obviously, if you want to mention about that, I think it shows you, talking about JP says backward days, I think that's proven the backward days ahead. And obviously, dark days when your former scout goes to the obviously dark side, which I think is absolutely wild. I don't really want to comment on that. I just think it's absolutely wild. But I think McCarthy will be a big part. And I do think that I agree with JP that I think there's darker days ahead in the dark side.
Just to go back into the game of the day, JP mentioned McCarthy chasing people back. There was a one where Gucci done the same thing. He actually lost the ball to the right hand side and chased the guy all the way back. Never got there. Eventually, I think it was young Anderson at left back. It actually made a challenge and won the ball back. Young Matthew Anderson. But it shows you've got that bit of drive there as well. McCarthy, you look at McCarthy. I mean the scenes at Ibrox when they were getting things thrown at him in Big Bay. He is a shit stirring big bastard. But whether or not he can always implement that in the middle of the park when he's playing, because I think McCarthy's got a nasty streak in him. That it's one of the ones. If you're in a game where, if I want a better phrase, it's become a bit of a kicking match. McCarthy, I don't think McCarthy will be shy about putting the boot in. Mm-hmm. But no, I agree with you in that front that, for want of a better phrase, you need a big bastard in the middle of the park. That's what you need. Like, for me, there's no other way to put that. You need somebody that's just that can play a bit, but is going to be like, no, we're not getting bullied in the middle of the park. And as you mentioned, Scott Brown did a cracking job of it for years, but I felt Brown's thing was more psychological than it was physical. Mm-hmm. Brown's thing was he wound people up. All right, he liked a challenge and that himself, but you seen him like, not like, is it, what do you call him? Boy played with Aberdeen.
Ferguson?
Shinnie. When Shinnie's talking about it when we've been under Brendan Rodgers, when we gubbed him up at Aberdeen, he's like Bruins like to him, do you want to touch the ball, wee man? Like, it was that sort of behaviour that get into people's heads, and that was it. They'd lost the game because they were too busy thinking, I'm going to fucking do you. To the everything you've said there, Ryan, about the media and everything else with today surrounding Morelos is spot on. Like, for me as a professional athlete, right, if you know you've got to come back pre-season, it's one of the ones. I think there'll be an acceptance if you're slightly overplaying weight because you haven't been in training every day, you haven't been playing the Saturday, you've been enjoying yourself, but to come back and look as if somebody's put a foot pump to you, it's totally unprofessional. There's Ryan away again. It's totally unprofessional. And as you touched on, the media absolutely hounded Griffiths for it. Like Lee Griffiths, this Lee Griffiths, that. At least Griffiths went back to Lennoxtown and worked his arse off to get back to some sort of fitness. But the other bit I've seen as well is, and again, this podcast is not about them; it's about us. But in terms of comparison of the media that we face here, you look at it and you go, right. So Morelos has come back like that. You look at everything that surrounds that. He was out injured last season for an extended period of time. I've seen a lot of bits from Twitter saying, but he couldn't do X, Y, and Z because he was injured. Just because he was injured does not mean he's got the right to fucking sit, as you say, sit in his arse and eat 50 boxes of donuts. Surely to God, if you're the Rangers nutritionist and their fitness coaches, you're going, what the fuck have you been doing? Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But again, it just shows the negative spin that's put on everything towards us. And it's one of the ones. Hugh Keevan's favourite one was your paranoid with good reason.
See, people. It's one reason why I like speaking about this because I want it to get out there, JP. I know I'm having a laugh and a joke, but in a serious consequence to it is that it's the truth. Lee Griffiths got absolutely lambasted in the papers. It was all over Twitter. And that was started a shit show after obviously Bolingoli for that season. But there's been nothing said about it. There's been photos about it, but there's been no papers putting him on the front page of the paper or the back page, saying headlines saying overweight or this and that, which again goes back to the bias. In my opinion, people will think these are just, as Dex says, paranoid. No, it's the truth. I know we like have a bit of background here and have a bit of a joke, but that is the truth. Lee Griffiths get totally lambasted after it, and if that was Big Jackie Marcus that was injured and came back overweight, I guarantee he'd be getting put on the spot. He got lambasted after media. The fans gave him a bit because he missed a penalty last year, but the media were basically saying that was unfinished at Celtic. But
yet, Rennie says he was being sold. Remember, what was it? He was to be sold before the summer window finished or the January window or something, wasn't it?
So again, we're going to get a lot of more this year because if we maybe lose a game or somebody gets injured and they come back, no the same player, we all know what's going to happen. But again, this is why I like talking about it because I think it's what highlighted JP, and I do agree with Declan that and yourself that if you're an athlete, doesn't matter if you're Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, St Roch's down the lower divisions, you've got to come back to a certain level of fitness. And years ago, your summers used to be enjoy your summer, and pre-season was to get you fit. That was the way it used to be. Go and enjoy your summer, go and drink, go and eat what you want for 3 or 4 weeks, come back and get fit. But the way football's changed now, you can't do that now. You're playing at a level where everybody's getting checked every 2 or 3 days, your body fats and everything's all up to date now with sports science. And for a player at that level, for me, it just goes hand in hand with what you're saying, that there's darker days ahead. In my opinion, fans are saying that there won't be, but I do believe, JP, that we are very, very much in the upper scale, and I think they're going down the lower scale again.
Well, you could potentially say that. You're talking about it media, Ryan. I saw a belter a day or two ago. Celtic have lost their top target in Koi Takura. He's went to Bayer Borussia Mönchengladbach. Sorry, I was going to say Bayer Leverkusen. Celtic have already made 4 signings. Like, where have you been for the last fucking 2-3 weeks? We've already made 4 signings, but he's our target. Just honestly, I don't know what they've got in their half bottles or whatever it is they do when they're sitting at their desk, but it's fucking. It must be class A. I'm telling you, it's got to be, because see to sit right, to have that computer in your brain sitting typing that, you must feel like an absolute plum. You've got to feel like an absolute numpty. You're sitting there going, Celtic's top targets now went. You're BBC. You're a high profile journal media outlet for sport nationwide. You've got guys sitting writing nonsense. Absolute dribble. It's phenomenal. Like, who comes up with these stories? You must have a boss to go, aye, that's good enough to put that out. See, when you take that to your boss and go, right, this is what I've wrote. The boss must look at that and go, honest to God, man. And I really do think some of these guys that are doing these jobs were guys that maybe didn't get picked for the school team and were just in a huff constantly. Because why would you just sit and type utter shite? It's nonsense.
Sell papers, mate, innit? People read it.
I know, but come on, they're saying, I mean, you've got to tell it. Their job's basically to tell the truth, to tell news, to tell people news, that things that are happening around the world, right? So, no, they're writing utter crap. I mean, that is total nonsense. Celtic have made 4 signings, but yet he's a top target and we've missed out them. It's just phenomenal. And then they totally spin that to Rangers beat Partick Thistle 3-2 and they're opening pre-season games as if that was a good thing. I mean, not long ago, under the good brother Pedro, they were doing pitch invasions at Firhill with a last-minute goal because Joey Garner scored. It's been happening for mega years now, and it will continue happening because that's the way they are. I don't know why that is the way they are, but it just seems to be that anytime Celtic do something or whatever, they don't get the credit they deserve. I can guarantee you now, Celtic were to win a high-profile game, 1-0. And Rangers were 2-0 down and came back for 2-0 down to draw. Rangers done really well to get the result, and Celtic scraped their victory. Mm-hmm. Even though the performance level probably showed differently, just to that effect. That's probably what you would see in the next day, the media. It's just phenomenal. It's absolutely frightening.
And it's no every journalist, by the way, in every paper. Some guys, they have good sources and they write decent headlines, but some, like you say, some things you see, you're thinking, look, why? I understand you've got to sell papers, but
no.
Just sell the truth. I don't mind. See if Celtic did get slaughtered in a game, or a player did come back overweight, or a player get injured and didn't come back in the same form. Fire away, see if you need to do, sell your papers. But like JP says, Derek, I do agree there's some good journalists out there that write good stories and they're very respected. So I know we're sitting.
There's more negative towards them, Ryan, than what there is positive, I'm afraid, because of the nonsense that you see constantly off them.
So I know I'm saying here, I'm slaughtering them, right? But I know they're respected, and some guys are respected, and they're right. They've done it for years, and I'm only talking on a fan podcast, I understand that. But by the outset, you'd only try to back up your team here. And sometimes what I see from the media, again, I'm only 28. I'm getting older, I'm getting a bit wiser, I would say, and I'm realising a lot more now. And you realise, especially papers, I don't buy papers anymore, right? It's just all online stuff you see in social media, because I've still banned them, because it's just, It's like JP says, that's a big one for me. I'm sure, was it 3-2? We beat Dundee. And Dundee scored 2 silly goals. Celtic were superb. It's one
Giakoumakis hat-trick.
Celtic were superb, Dick, and I think Rangers either they got a last-minute draw or they just won, and it was Rangers come back to win, and it was Celtic scraped past Dundee. I'm thinking, like JP says, Dick, are you actually watching the game here? Just because the score was close doesn't mean the game was close. I've been to games where I see Celtic only maybe 1-2-0, but it's not that game at Celtic Park. that was 3-0 going on 10, but Celtic won 3-0, good atmosphere.
You just said it earlier now, we beat Ross County 2-0, Kyogo's made his return for injury. He actually scored a header and Celtic looked nervy, apparently. Remember the media resource there? You're just like, even these people can't believe the utter shite that they talk. It's beyond the state of getting on medication, I think, at some point. You know what I mean? Like, see, as soon as that happens, there should be an absolute speed dial with our GP phoning them straight away, going, right, you need to come in on Monday and see me because you're not a full kettle. So that's it. And that's the way to deal with that. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's maybe something they can look at moving forward. I don't know, but I do think it's at these stages because, like I say, I've got the ones at Dairy since I've got a view that these people don't get picked for the school team and they've got right animosity against people who play the game at a good level.
Just for me, there's journalists who I actually like reading. I'm not going to mention names because that's their job. But there's journalists that I read their columns and they read their social medias and they've got valid points. And some of them actually back us up. There's a few guys in South that I don't really mention names. We probably all know that back us up, especially in the media. But don't your take is, well, last bit on this media point, Dick. But I don't know what you think it. But I just genuinely believe that we're going to see a lot more bias again next season, especially if we're doing well.
It's one of the ones, mate. It's become an accepted fact, I would say. And I know there's rumbles for the other side of the city that they feel it's the other way, but I don't understand how they can have that sort of view because it's so blatant at times. Like as we've just discussed there, the couple of ones for last season, nervy Celtic edge past Dundee. Rangers have had a last minute winner at home. Had Rangers superb victory and all that part. Like, and it's an argument that annoys me. And I'm going, as long as we do our talk on the park, it doesn't matter. They can print what utter garbage they like. It's one of the ones, but you can't argue with results. You can't. But some of the media outlets are good. The ones that actually print the truth. But there's a lot of them that I remember reading. I'm the same as yourself. I don't buy papers anymore. Even my dad, who for years bought newspapers, doesn't buy them anymore. His take on it is, if I want a comic, I'll buy a comic. But no, like some of the writers in South, I think there's maybe one or two up here that actually gives a fair shake at it. But a lot of it is, as JP said, some of these people you would be going, like, are you medicated? Because if not, you need to be.
Aye, fucking, it's rife, man.
Aye, then it's one of the ones. He's having a moment. The thing I've always thought to myself was, just print the truth. It's no hard. Just do it. But then I can't mention this person's name, but what they told me was, see the stories you get that appear in the paper. About any celebrity or we'll go with footballers. You can print one like the one you normally get is Celtic star and alleged affair with wee Senga for Castlemilk. But what they told me was, so see if Celtic or the player come out and publicly deny it, they've got a story there as well. So it goes round and round, so you can even if it is total bollocks, and but they can then do another story as like such and such denies it, and everything else was in. They've released this statement, so from a non-story they get a story, and it keeps going. That was the way it was explained to me, and I went, that's gutter journalism.
It's just lazy journalism as well. It's the same when it comes to transfers. Some agents will put out players are going for sale or players are interested, but sometimes they're not even interested in these guys, but yet it gets clubs to get interested, and it's crazy. I know, obviously, a bit more than yours, JP, transfers, the last bit of the pod, mate. Not really heard much rumours recently about guys coming in or out. Obviously, the Sousa deal, until a Dutch journalist says anything, I'll not really believe it. But it seems that they want a lot of money. I think it's 10 or 9 or 10 million pound quoted, give or take. I still think we're needing a centre back, probably three. I would say centre back, centre mid, and another striker, because I think Ayet will be away. As much as I think you've got three good ones in Maeda and Kyogo and Giacomakis, Maeda might be more suited to the left hand side. So I think you're still needing another striker, because I think you do need four good strikers. I know a guy doesn't really want to come and be third or fourth choice, but like we've just mentioned on the podcast, mate, that there's going to be rotation because how many games are going to play.
Aye, definitely. I did say the other day in the chat, lads, I do think we'll bring in another three at least anyway. I think it'll be right through the centre, as you said, Ryan, centre back, centre mid and centre forward. I was thinking along the lines of, you're talking about a centre mid, we need a big bruiser, we need a big, maybe somebody like a big Innes to still game, somebody like that, a big presence, somebody like, will come in and put the fear of God into people. And I get you there, I understand that, but there's also wee guys that can do that job and all, by the way. It's not just big boys that can put the fear of God into people. There's wee hardy people that can do it as well. So necessarily size, I don't think it's going to really matter. I think it's the position itself. I think we do need covered, obviously, with Big Beaton gone as well. And he's been a long servant to the club. I think that is somewhere in there. We maybe are light in terms of the amount of games that we're going to play, especially with the Champions League, and then you could potentially drop into another one of the competitions or whatever in the later stages. So you're going to be playing a lot of football, and you've got the cup competitions domestically, the league itself. So, aye, and then obviously I think you need four strikers as well, Ryan, in terms of, again, to help with the quality aspect of your team, so that you bring one or two out, you've still got two there who are still at a reasonable standard that can come in and do the job that you want them to do in your system. Same with centre backs, because I'd be worrying if something happens to Starfelt or Big Vickers. Julian, well, he looks sharp now. He must be just about there if he's not really 100% fit. Apart from that, you've only got the boy Stephen Welsh, who I think still untrustworthy in terms of our level where we want to be. I'm not saying the boy's not a good player. I don't, by all means, if he's listening, I don't mean that, Stephen. I don't think you're a bad player. I just necessarily think a wee bit more in terms of experience for what we're about to face and at first team level. Potentially, and I have spoke to my dad about this, potentially something like a Kolo Toure transfer, something right out of left field, in terms of just to help the squad immediately. Somebody that's not going to come in and dig his heels straight away and say, how am I not playing and how am I not doing this every week? And just be happy to be there and help the squad and play your part. Because I really, in terms of money, guys, I don't think we're going to be spending a lot more money now. I think the money aspect of things, transfers, etc., is not maybe done, but it'll be done to the extravagance of what was spent. You're talking 6.5 for Jota, 6.5 for Carter Vickers. You've got nearly just under 4 there for Bernaby. So in terms of big money transfers, I don't think there'll be many more of them coming in, that's for sure, this window. And then as we go down the window towards the end of the window, I think it'll be more along the lines of development type players that'll be maybe coming in the door. Because I think Ange is still looking for guys to know to come in and help the first team. Because right now, guys, you're right, it was the start of it, but we're playing Saturday, Wednesday, right to be playing Aberdeen now. So we're going to be playing every couple of days now. Thankfully, we're back. So I think Ange wants players in to help the squad immediately as well. So in terms of money, I don't think there'll be much more. And then it'll all depend again who's coming in to who's leaving. Because you'll then need to get rid of other players to make way. Because let's face it, the players that Ange is bringing in are all guys for the first team. It's no boys that are coming in and you'll not see them for 6-7 months like Patrick Klamala or Lewis Morgan and Vaku Nisif Bayu and the boys that are coming in now aren't coming in. They're coming in to make a difference to now. They're not coming in to make a difference 8 months, 9 months down the line. So in terms of moving forward, I do think there'll be players brought in, but I think he'll need to get players out time before he can bring the players in he wants.
I think, Dick, what JP says there, I think it comes to deadwood. I think there's some deadwood that needs to be sold. Like, I've not even seen Sorrow or Bolingoli train yet. I don't know if Sorrow has. I've not seen him training yet at all. Yeti, they're probably 3 guys that maybe should be leaving. Like guys like maybe Shaw might go on loan. Some guys might go on loan as well. So, but I don't know what you think as well. I think we've improved vastly in the window. I think we've a far better team already. I know it's 2 guys shorter than because of who they weren't our players, but now they are. So for me, they're still your signings. Don't know if you think we need to improve again, Dick, but I do think going forward the next few weeks it will be interesting to see who else comes in and who else leaves.
Definitely, mate. I think there probably will be a couple of guys going out the door, just as it is. I think last season was different because you had, for one of that phrase, you had your big hitters. A lot of them wanted to leave the club. Whereas last year, again, we touched on it at the start of the pod. You brought guys in so you kept guys in the squad that were never really going to be first team regulars, but we needed them because we needed a squad, and that sounds so disrespectful, but in a way that's what it was. We needed bodies at one point last season. I'm sure I read a bit about Bolingoli having not even travelled with the squad. So again, I don't know if that's the truth or not, if that's just something I've read. I don't see Bolingoli having a future at the club, especially now with the Ballon d'Or nominee Greg Taylor and Bernabe now playing in that role.
Greg Carlos.
Greg Carlos. As we touched on there, but midfield, we have a lot of players for central midfield, so I can't see Sorrow there either. I don't know if Sorrow will be alone or if somebody will actually want to take him. But I can see a lot of players going out the door. But as you touched on there, we have already spent a decent amount of money. I'm sure I read actually the other day that Ange just spent the most money of any Celtic manager in the transfer market.
I think it's 40 million, mate. Aye, but I think again, I think I had it on Twitter as well. But that's the way I'm trying to put it across to people is it's not actually 40 million of Celtic's money. It's money they've recouped. No. They got like I think Edward was 17, Ayer was like 12 or something. Christie, I think Owen was like 4.5 million. Bayu, Shed, the Isaac released. So they've really recouped maybe £25 million in it. No, even more. They've really recouped the 40 million they spent. Give or take, plus the Champions League money, their ticket sales, and so they've no actually. It's not like Dermot Desmond or the shareholders have went, and just £40 million. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, but as I said in the chat I think it was the day as well about any other acquisitions. I agree. I would like to see 3 come in. Whether that'll happen on those is up there, but I can't see us spending what we would class as big money. I can't say spending another £6.5 or whatever £1 million. And as we spoke about earlier on, you've got the £5 million striker that is Albi Energetti sitting there as well. So you're not going to get anywhere near what you paid for him. But overall, the recruitment process has been good. I do think the suggestion of another Toure-like player would be good coming in. A bit of experience, and again, I keep touching back on James McCarthy. I think McCarthy will give you that if he can maintain fitness, and obviously McCarthy's had injury problems through his career. But it's to see if he can keep his fitness up, if he can stay fit. I think midfield wise, you have as many players as you're going to. I can see us bringing in another striker and possibly another defender, but I don't know. I think the midfield is what he wants as a midfield. Even you touched on Liam Shaw. I thought Big Shaw looked all right playing the game today, and again going back to the opposition thing. But he's an absolute unit as well. He's huge.
Yeah.
You seen him today holding players off.
I do think there is a humongous amount of talent in there, though, Dick. I think he might be loaned out, though. I would envisage he's out loan, maybe. It's got to take something special to disrupt Calmac, really. Hatate. For me, right now, I think that's the kind of main three. And then out with that, you've got like Turnbull, McCarthy and Noguchi. So it's going to be really hard to stamp any sort of authority in there in that position, I think.
I think what they touched on today as well about Liam Shaw was obviously went to Motherwell on loan, ended up injured. So didn't get as much game time as he'd have liked. One of his claims to fame is the game at Fir Park when I was at Rangers. Rangers were 2 up and they drew 2 each. They brought Shaw on at half time. So big man had a hand in that somewhere.
That was a big curse, wasn't it? That was.
There was a game where he was brought on at half time and he did.
I think actually they were 2-0 down at half time, Motherwell, and they drew 2 each when I had a big curse.
Yeah. One of the guys I work with is a big Motherwell fan, and I remember him talking about him. And that was what he said to me was, playing well, wanting to see Merriam, and then he got injured.
Right.
I think you're right. I think it will be another. I think you're right what you're saying. I think Shaw will be sitting on loan again. But to touch back on the recruitment thing, I think as a supporter, some days feel greedy because we've done so much business already. I'm like, no, I want there.
Yeah.
But I think everything we've discussed now about playing in Europe, playing in the Champions League, you need more players. But and Andrew, you trust, boys.
It definitely comes to recruitment. I think we've been brilliant under Ange. Not one fan. Forget about Neil Lennon's 10 in a row. Forget about Mowbray and whatever else. Not fan can come on a podcast, or in my opinion anyway, fans might not say otherwise, but in my opinion, not one fan can write on social media or go on a podcast or sit in the pub with their pals and slaughter Michael Nicholson and Ange on the board. Not one person, because the recruitment's been superb. They've gave Ange the money blinded because Ange was basically a scout himself. He trusted in Jota, Vickers, Kyogo, Maeda, Hatate, Deguchi. He's trusted these guys to sign them. Obviously, he's done his own scouting and they've done it through what they did recruitment-wise, but he's just come in and I've given the money. So, like you says, for me, the board deserve a wee bit of pat the back for a change. I know in years of, let's be fair, lads, since the early 2000s, Celtic have been dominant. Apart from give or take the odd 2 or 3 seasons, Celtic have been dominant in success. So the board, give or take, the European-wise, deserve a bit of harsh fucking reality against them. But in domestic terms, apart from the odd season here and there, it's hard to criticise them because of what we've done periodically in the league and domestic trebles, etc. So, but on this season, the start of this recruitment season and last season, the board for me kind of get criticised. Again, everything we've spoken about, I think it's especially for me, the media side. I know some fans might not want to speak about it, but I think for what we're talking about, I just think it's the truth, and I think people might want to hear it, people don't. I don't care if they don't want to hear it. I'm just want to put the truth and get it out there because I think it deserves to be. And we'll be doing it all season until until it doesn't get to that stage. But again, if anybody likes the content, we're on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Please subscribe when we go live. A wee bell will come up. If you like us talking about a banter and Celtic, then please tune in. Again, more content like this about every so often. If there's anything that you don't want to speak about, we'll happily speak about it. Give us a wee DM or a wee message and we'll happily get your views and opinions on. But again, Dick, JP, good start to the season so far. Recruitment, good result tonight. Fitness on the going. Busy few weeks ahead now to the Aberdeen game. We just go for it, lads. So hail and take care.
Hail, mate. Cheers. Cheers, lads.
Mate.